Welcome to the Sacred Reclamation Podcast. Here we will be exploring how we can reclaim the sacredness of birth, life, death, and all the happenings in between. My name is Sydney Sands, and my intention with this podcast is to reclaim the art of storytelling. This is a space where we will practice allowing the simple act of telling our stories and listening to the stories of others to be medicine for our bodies and spirits. I invite you to keep an open mind and an open heart as you listen to these stories. Grab a cup of tea, maybe a little snack, and settle in for story time. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Sacred Reclamation Podcast. I'm your host, Sydney Sands, and today I'm here with my friend Stella Udeozor. Stella and I met back in 2023 on the summer solstice at the Matriarch Rising Festival. We both did the Radical Birthkeeper School, so that's kind of what, you know, magnetized us to that festival. And yeah, a lot of beautiful women go through that program. So very cool to meet. And we've just been following each other on social media since and recently reconnected. So I'm really excited to have you here. Thank you so much. I'm looking forward to getting to sit and chat with you more deeply. I know we spent a little bit of time together at the festival, but nothing in this way. And I'm excited to learn more about you and what you're working on, your work in the world, and just hear some of your stories. So thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. And we were just having all sorts of technological difficulties, so I'm really in need of this short little drop in. If anyone wants to join us in a short meditation, if you feel comfortable and safe, go ahead and close down your eyes. Maybe just starting with a deep breath just to drop in. Hmm. Yeah, we'll take another deep breath in through your nose. You hold at the top for a second or two, out through the nose or mouth. And then you can continue with this deep breath or find your own pace and rhythm. I want to invite you to bring your awareness down to your solar plexus, that area below your heart, above your belly button. And just breathe here for a moment. Mhm. This is a very powerful energy center. Just think of the word solar, the sun, how powerful, how life-giving, how hot and passionate that energy is. Breathe into it here. We're just going to do this little exercise. We'll take one more deep breath, and then after that, we're going to say the affirmation, I call all of my power back to me. And we'll do another breath, and we'll do that 3 times. So let's practice together. Deep inhale. Exhale through the nose or mouth. I call all of my
Call all of
power
my
back to
power
me.
back to me.
Or inhale. Exhale. I
I
call all
call
of my
all of my
power
power
back to
back
me.
to me.
Once more, inhale. Inhale like you mean it. Exhale like you love yourself.
Mhm.
And say these words like they're true. I call all of my
Call
power back
all
to
of my
me.
power back to me.
One more deep, deep inhale. Pause at the top. Take one more sip of air. Exhale. Let it go. It's done. It's complete. Your power is back. Hmm. Take a few more moments to feel into that. Feels like a sturdy, sturdy power, fiery,
Yeah.
passionate energy. Whenever you're ready, you lightly open up your eyes, look around your space, move your neck around, move your eyes around your body. Hmm. Making your way
So
back to the
cool.
screen.
So beautiful.
Yeah, I think you mentioned something about solar plexus in one of the
I was
voice
gonna say,
messages, but
do you always do solar plexus?
no.
When you said solar plexus, that just zoomed me right in, like, oh shit, I'm about to get into it. Because that's been the
That's
work. That's
honestly,
been the...
yeah, that's honestly probably my most like ignored chakra.
Oh my gosh, so many of us. So many of us. And I've been going through an intense solar plexus awakening, reclamation. Like I've been doing, I mean, like I literally have little drops of yellow everywhere. Like I've been working with that yellow sound bowl solar plexus. I
Mm.
made a potter yesterday at work and I just adorned it in yellow and like an ankh and like yellow lemon in my water. Oh, for the people who are like listening, I just have yellow everywhere. So that really helped drop me in. Thank you.
Awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thank you for that invitation. I love sometimes we don't realize when we just like mention something how it might hit for someone else.
Yeah. Oh, so true.
All right, so now I'd love to move into setting our intentions. My intention is to stay in my power in this conversation. And yeah, I just have a feeling that I get this really powerful energy from you. So I'm here, I'm opening up to the bigness and the powerful energy that I know your medicine is. So I'm here to
Mm.
hold it and stay with it.
Gratitude. Gratitude. Absolutely. I would say my intention is to, yeah, share my current truth, like right exactly where I am right here, right now. Um, Big shifts are happening in my whole being. So this is right on time. And everything you're talking about is in alignment. So yeah. Yeah, it's all about that reclamation of our power.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a huge initiation. It's what it feels like is happening in my life. So here we go. Oh, I'm
Here
wearing
we
a yellow shirt.
go. I know. I was gonna say, I was like, I don't know if maybe it's green. I'm like, but it looks yellow.
It's like a lemon lime.
It looks yellow. And then you got the yellow light shining on you right
Well,
now.
it's cool
Perfect.
because it kind of is giving a shape of a honeycomb, and
Mm.
Goddess of Shun has been like I've been doing a lot of work with her, and she loves yellow. And like the world of connecting with the goddesses is super new to me, and but she has been like coming on strong. She's like, girl, if you try to shake shit up, I'm your girl. Get to know me. So it's been so sweet and sensual, like honey, like Oshun is all about honey and sensuality and fertility and wealth, gold, like manifestation, like all of it. So, um, so interesting. I'm like talking about the goddesses right now in my life. I've just been going through a lot of transformations and I love where I'm arriving. So
Beautiful.
let's get into it.
Yeah, tell us who you are, tell us where you are, where you're from, who you're from, whatever. Yeah, just introduce yourself.
Okay, cool. Well, my name is Stella, like you said. I am based in Cincinnati, Ohio, with my hubby and our two daughters. We got a teenager and a toddler. It's full lots going on here all the time. Um, yeah, I am a portal keeper, and that's been a new like kind of like an initial when I'm talking about the initiation, it feels like I'm understanding what that really means. The terminology just kind of came to me one day as I was reflecting on like who I am and what medicine I have for the world. And yeah, I heard Spirit say you're a portal keeper, and I'm like, what the hell is that? But I didn't know what it meant, but I just like went and put it on my business cards, put it on my Instagram. I'm like, I'm a portal keeper, and I'm like, what does that mean? Like, so I'm sure we'll get into that, but essentially holding space for women experiencing sacred transformations in life, the sacred transitions in life, transcendence, you know. But full time right now, I'm working as a social media content creator at an agency here in Cincinnati. I love it. They're beautiful people. Sort of also feeling the call towards like going full throttle in my calling work and like understanding what that means now. And like you said, we were at like the birth keeper school together. Well, not in the same time, but we both did the Radical Birth Keeper School. So I started my business, Freedom Birth Story, from that school. And it's been a little over 3 years, and I haven't made much progress with it. Like shortly after I started it, I fell pregnant myself, which is like they say one of the curses of taking the school. You will either get pregnant or something crazy is gonna happen in your life. And I got pregnant. I was like, fuck, this is amazing. I want to try. I want to experience this. And it's interesting because I never was like in birth work before that. I just like have always like I come from a pretty medical family. I'm Nigerian American, fifth of six kids. My mom was a medical doctor, and so I just thought like we have the same name. She's also Stella, and I just thought like, oh, I'm gonna be a medical doctor. And then I was like, I felt called to women and babies, and I'm like, I'll be an OBGYN because that's all I knew. And then like a lot of shit went down in my life that kind of deterred me from like following that calling, and now I'm like thank God. But I ended up just like getting into the media space and video and all of this other stuff, pretty left field from medicine. But I've always felt called to the spirit path. I um I grew up in a Catholic family, and like Catholic, I should say African Catholic. It's a completely different thing because, we still bring a lot of our flavor and a lot of our just the magic that is the African diaspora into Catholicism. But nevertheless, I grew up in a structured religion, but always felt super close to God, to spirit, just saw it differently, super close to Jesus. And I kind of went down a path like in college where I got super like I was in like a almost I don't want to use the C word. It wasn't quite that, but it was like damn near cultish of just like you have to believe this or you're going to hell. A lot of indoctrination and a lot of that messaging just like in my life, and like feeling never really resonating with that, but then also feeling like, oh God, I have to live my life a certain way in order to be close to spirit and to like experience God. I have to be a Christian. I have to. And I like had an affinity for Jesus. Like I was really close to Jesus. So it just like the path I went down. Um and yeah, it just kind of like happened to be that where should I go? Well, I ended up going on this really long mission trip, 11 months, 11 countries, and I'm hopping around like meant to be spreading the gospel, and like in country three, I was like, hold the fuck up. It's like, wait, what am I doing here? Like, I don't know if I even believe this anymore. Like, I was starting to have all of these transformations. Yeah, I'm like traveling with a group, like
Wow.
predominantly white Christians, going to literally Asia, Africa, like amongst my people. And my world started opening up. Whew. I was meant to be on that trip. Like, there's no regrets. I met beautiful people. I traveled with beautiful people. But towards the end of the trip on month 11, I had a complete and total psychosis breakdown, but I call it my initiation because that's truly what it was. Like, I started to awaken to my power in a very like drastic way that I wasn't necessarily asking for, but I was having like past life regressions. I was seeing the future. I was leaping, like I was quantum leaping, and but like without the framework for it or without the actual like desire to. So it was just kind of like, what's happening? They thought I was possessed. They tried to do like all sorts, like probably exorcisms and stuff on me. It's all kind of fuzzy for me because I was so out of it. Um, but as I've recalled what was being revealed to me, I'm like, holy shit, no, I was just like getting initiated. Like my ancestors were saying, like, you're different. There's something about you and you need to like start walking in that. But it scared the crap out of me. So I like went pretty far from it. I was like, I don't want anything to do with this stuff anymore. And that was in 2019. So the last 5 years have been like the unfolding of like understanding what happened, why it happened, what it means, all of it. So might as well go
Wow.
deep fast, huh?
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I
but
have a
that's who I
question.
am. Yeah.
What was that like for you? Like what when you said that by country three you started questioning, was there something specific that triggered that, or what kind of questions were popping into your mind?
Mhm. Good, great question. So this is like a super like organized Christian, but like charismatic Christian group. So truly, truly, all of us were there with just love for people. Like we just wanted people to know like there's a God. God loves you. He's seeking after you. It's a very masculine God, right? It's always he. And that message really resonated with me because I found love through Jesus, like through Christ and like through surrender, right? Learning these principles. Um, but I started to see like I started to I've always like I actually had a phrase where I called myself universalist Christian because I was like, I don't I don't necessarily feel like what I believe is superior to anyone else. But we are kind of like brainwashed into believing that no, 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 this is the only way, and other people are damned if they don't believe this. And then I'm in Asia, surrounded around like our route was Philippines, Thailand, Malaysia. So month three was Malaysia. And I'm like, I'm meeting Buddhists, I'm meeting Hindi people, I'm meeting, people from all different walks of life. And I'm like, y'all have it together more than I do. Like, who am I to be coming into your country and telling you like this is the truth and you should be thinking and believing these things. So that started to really like not resonate with me. And then also just like meeting people in different walks of life and realizing we each have so much to share and like love each other with. And it was happening very internally for me too. But then I also started to question some of what we think we know about Jesus or like what's interpreted about him, of him being like any more God than the rest of us. Like I started to question that and really, really challenge like what he was saying when he was here, right? Like as a great prophet, he was saying very similar things to many others, right? So yeah, and then I'm in Africa. We went to Lesotho, Swaziland, and South Africa. So we're all in Southern Africa. And I remember after on month four, I was raised up actually to be a leader in the group. So not only am I like questioning everything, but I'm like, now I'm supposed to be leading these people. And like as a squad leader, you got to kind of hop around to different groups and help in different places. So there was six of us, and there were six different groups that we were all split into. And then every 3 months we would kind of disperse and like intermingle groups and stuff like that. So three of us were appointed to be leaders. And so I'm like squad leading and also like breaking all the rules and doing stuff I'm not supposed to. And I'm like, so there was a lot of conflict of interest there. But we were in Africa and we are again like just like spreading this message, and I started to see my people so oppressed by these words. Like my people being like told not to speak with their ancestors. Like and like I'm being taught this too, right? So I'm like, oh, okay, so we're not supposed to connect with our ancestors. That's bad. That's witchcraft. That's evil. But like it just I started to see like the dissonance and the way that like the the forced um doctrine that is being spread by certain people is oppressing people more. And I'm like, this isn't freedom. It's so interesting because it's like all of these things are intertwining, and like spirit is spirit, and spirit's going to speak to us and use us however she pleases, right? And so before I went on the trip, there was a guy who had a ministry who he would pray over these keys as like literal keys, and then he would engrave a word, a prophetic word that came to him into the key. And so I bought one before the trip, and you're supposed to kind of carry it with you, understand what the words are saying to you, and then maybe give it to someone that you meet or whatever, right? And the word that I got was free. And it was
Mhm.
like so resonant to me because I'm always like free, freedom, freedom. But I didn't really understand what that meant. And I felt like I had a lot of kind of chains on me. To the fact that I actually got it tattooed on my ankle because I was like so resonant with it. I started a whole blog called Dare to Live Free. And yet I was seeing these people who weren't free because of the way Christianity had been brought to them and the way it's the religion aspect, right? Like this is not relationship, this is like very religious. And I remember in South Africa, they have what you would call a Sangoma. And Sangoma is essentially a shaman, a witch doctor, you might call in some cultures. Like I'm Nigerian. Back home, they might call them witch doctors, but the actual terminology is dibia. And a dibia is like a spiritual person who is raised up as like a shaman, who's connected with the earth, with the ancestors, who, does veneration and praise on behalf of other people and like very in tune with the spirit. And I found myself in a Sangoma's house, right? And we are like in an informal settlement in South Africa, which many people might call like a shanty town, if you've ever heard of, or like shacks. Like it's like we're in the midst of like very deep um disparity. And we found ourselves at a Sangoma's house because some of the girls that I was traveling with, and mind you, these are like frilly dilly happy Americans. Nothing's gonna happen to me because I'm an American and I can just go around to people's houses and preach the gospel. So we found ourselves at this guy's house, and he had a boy who was literally chained to his shack, and he had chains on him, and he was detoxing from this really strong drug that had been like infiltrating this informal settlement. It was like a mix of all sorts of poisons. Like it was like rat poison and all sorts of stuff that people were ingesting to get high. So he's like detoxing him, and literally he's on chains in this man's house, and I'm like, what are we like, we're okay, we're here. And we get to talking to this man, and he was like, "Oh yeah, 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 I know about Jesus. I love Jesus. Like I used to be, Christian, but I was banished from the church because I answered my calling to become a Sangoma." And he told us he got really sick. He started to get really sick, and nobody knew what was happening to him. He went to the church. They tried to like pray it away, exorcise it away, but he remained sick, and some family members told him it's because you have to answer the calling of the ancestors, and you will be sick until you do it. And so finally he said yes, and he started to embrace his calling to be a Sangoma. And the church rejected him and said he couldn't come back, but he was doing the work. And he said, I just will never forget talking to him because he was like, yeah, I was very into church. And he said, the Holy Spirit is the strongest spirit of them all. I still love Jesus, but I incorporate my ancestry and my people into my prayers so that I can get guidance. And that really shook me to the core. And especially because I'm going back to the base shop and they're saying like, these people, we build bridges with people that have different beliefs, but we also have to share the gospel with them and let them know that it's wrong to pray to the ancestors. It's wrong to worship deities other than the one true God, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. And I'm like, this just doesn't feel right. This just doesn't feel right. I'm not going for it. Simultaneously, back home, my mom had been going through some really strong legal stuff. It's a really long story. I won't get into all the way, but she actually, while I was on this trip, got deported and back to Nigeria. So like I'm going around traveling the world. My mom is dealing with a bunch of legal crap and ends up getting deported. And she's like, if she's passed now, she transitioned 3 years ago. But if you knew this woman, like she's like the biggest beam of light anyone has ever seen. And just like a very, very special woman. And she was going through all of this pain and suffering. And so I just like, I think the culmination of everything, like being around the world, experiencing people all over, opening my heart to the fact that I believe in a much bigger source, a much bigger, like the most high is too big to be boxing them in. And my ancestors are like too loud to be ignoring them any further. I didn't really know it then, right? Like I didn't know like I was being like beckoned, so to say. Like that's what it feels like now. But now I'm starting to understand, like, oh, they were trying to like pull me out of limited thinking, you know? Um, yeah, that was the journey. It was so eye-opening and groundbreaking. And by the end of it, um, so we were 3 months in Asia, 3 months in Africa, and then we went to Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia, and Ecuador. And in Ecuador, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like the energy in Ecuador is really strong because you have a lot of indigenous peoples that are reclaiming their power. You have a lot of people who are saying like no more to this bullshit and like stepping into their magic. And so that was really strong. The energy was really strong there in Ecuador. And I was vulnerable because I didn't know what it means to like protect myself in spirit and all of this while I was also like kind of undoing from the church like dynamics. And I think I was vulnerable to whatever it was that like just like fully made me deep dive into this initiation, but I'm happy it happened in retrospect. It led to me literally spending a week in a psych unit. When I got back home, when I got back to Cincinnati, my people were like, "Oh, there's something up with her." I was still so like I had not landed back into my body. Like I was like saying shit like there's multiple Stellas living in me because I was like experiencing, I think, past lives and I didn't know how to like what to do about it all. Like how to reconcile it, how to like balance it all. It was a lot, but yeah. That was that. And I've heard of many people having similar experiences since then that make me like, okay, all right, like this wasn't like just me literally going cuckoo bananas. Like, no, this is the aggression that the spirit is coming with because there's those of us who are willing and able to respond to like that call are like you don't really like the choice is there. There's free will, but I believe when the ancestors are really like, no, 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 no. Like you, I need you to do this. Like you're on a mission. They're gonna make it known.
Yeah.
They're gonna make it very loud and clear.
Yeah, that's such an interesting like paradox of gathering this group of, I don't know if everyone, it was a group of all young people, but to go and travel the world and see the way different people live and the things different people believe and the things that they worship. Like, I don't know, it's very arrogant to think that you could take a group of people who are going to these places, and it's very arrogant to think that everyone's gonna just stay on that straight and narrow path and like not deviate at all.
Oh, for
Because
sure.
I've been to Thailand, so I can only imagine what it would be like as, you're on this like mission and then you show up in Thailand and yeah, I can, even though I wasn't there, I can just visualize that little part of just like seeing the different way and how connected and spiritual and aligned and peaceful
Oh
and
yeah. But
people are there.
you're not to interpret it as that. You're to interpret it as these people are in darkness and they don't know the true God and they need enlightenment of Jesus. And it's so twisted because it's like, no, these people are actually so much more grounded in their spirituality than we are because we're so stuck on like this one philosophy. And it's yeah, it's pretty bleak. And I couldn't do it. I really couldn't. Um, but then, like we were doing service, like we were doing good work. We were helping a lot of like my first month I was in a orphanage for young boys who just like didn't have anyone. And like I slept I slept on the floor for a month with them, like I experienced a lot of really beautiful like work and got to like, but it was also like it was like a tourism of poverty. Like what are we actually doing? Because we would be in like these ministries for a month and make I was making really deep relationships because I just do that like when I just go deep with people and then leaving them like each and every month. Like it's just I don't know. People who go and devote their lives to serving a community, even if they do it in the name of Jesus, like there's a lot of beauty in that and in sacrificing your life and feeling called in that way. But I also see a lot of problems with approaching people like that and like having an agenda to like alter their beliefs. But that's what you're meant to do because you're meant to believe that if you don't do that, like the people around you are gonna burn in hell for the rest of their life. Like that's just not it's not right.
Yeah, I have a hard time just understanding where that whole part of the story originated from because I didn't grow up religious. My mom grew up Catholic and my dad grew up Baptist, and that neither of them really stuck with that. Like when we lived in Kentucky, we would go to church, but that was because my grandparents wanted us to go to church, and then my mom would just like a few times a year randomly be like, "We're going to church." Um, so I wasn't really steeped in religion. And now, getting older and kind of sorting out what do I believe, what's true for me. I think a lot is missed out by just completely throwing away Jesus. And I don't know a lot about Jesus, but I do appreciate the archetype of Jesus.
Mhm.
I have a hard time with it because, some people who are devoted and believe in Jesus, the message that they're spreading is like, this is the only way. Like
Yeah.
everything else was evil and devilish. All these like, even like things like yoga, or
Hmm.
we were talking about the goddesses earlier. Like it's like if you believe anything else, that's the devil.
Oh
And
yeah.
I really don't understand that. And I
They
don't understand.
completely demonized the why. Well, it's for control. I mean, when you really like get into the history of the church, it's so sad that they've used Jesus's name to like really like seize control over people's minds. But that's truly the origin of like why make all of these people believe the same thing because then you can control entire people groups and it was very successful, like to like take this story and add context to it that is And like it's the more I learn, the more I understand like okay, I think what happened is like I don't even want to get it like deep into like religion and like the very specifics, but um there's just been a lot of convolution of the gospel. They took out Mary Magdalene's book. Mary Magdalene was like really close with Jesus, and she was like basically a priestess that followed, that was one of his like first and closest disciples. My opinion, I think that they were together. I think that was his partner. They were fucking. Am I allowed to say that? Like probably, and
Yeah.
and Jesus was probably very good at it. He probably knew everything to do because he was like so in tune with the spirit, right? And like I like they took out her book because he's talking about the chakras and enlightenment and about like how to truly be free. Like Jesus's message was always that you are God. You are the manifestation of God. You can speak you're so close. You can call God Father, Mother, and the word that he used for God was Father, Mother, Abun. Like he was
Mm.
referring to a great spirit that accompanied both the divine and feminine and masculine. Like he was completely enlightened. And then they took his life and his ministry and they made it into a religion and made it, and he never even said anything about going to hell because of not believing in everything. Like I like when the more that I've like gotten into like what even what we have in the Bible, like sometimes some things you can like you know question the viability, but if you're going to take exactly what was written like by this man, the only time he ever refers to anything that's hell is he was talking about people who are far from God going to a literal place where they would burn bodies. Like the word that he used was an actual place in Israel, Palestine, somewhere in the, like his where was brought up in the Middle East, and they would burn bodies. So and they translated that word to hell. And so Jesus didn't really speak of a place like this, but one of like kind of what happened was Paul, a man who wrote the majority of the New Testament, who never even knew Jesus. He was actually persecuting Christians and killing them, but had an encounter. He wrote a lot of the New Testament, and from his writings come a lot, I think, of the doctrine and a lot of like the things that I now attest. But it's deep and it's deeply, deeply rooted, and it's a system set up, and it makes people, it frees a lot of people. It helps a lot of people connect with God. It's actually crazy because I actually worked at a church before I went on this trip, and I was our story producer. And so I got to like find people whose life had been transformed by like meeting God and interview them. And so I've heard countless beautiful stories about the impact that it can have on someone's life to find belief. And even if the belief is in Jesus as God, like it radically changed a lot of people's lives. But nevertheless, it doesn't have to be the whole story. Actually, I don't even think Jesus wants it to be the whole story. Jesus, as an archetype, like as a divine teacher, wants us to be fully enlightened and to know that like there's so much like his ministry was to tell people that heaven is right here and now on earth, and you can access heaven right now. Yet we take those words like this is the last thing I'll say because then we can move on to like other stuff that's not church because I will go on and on. But one of the first things Jesus says when he starts his ministry when he was 30, is that we have record of, right? Is he says the spirit of God is upon us. Repent and believe the good news. And so the good news is the gospel. So he's saying repent and believe the gospel. And the church says the gospel is that Jesus died for our sins and atoned for our sins, and now we get to go to heaven because of what Jesus did. Yet Jesus himself was saying, like, the Spirit of God is here, right now. Turn away. So, like, repent means like turn away from like your dark ways, or you could turn away from like evil, and believe that good news that you have access to God right here, right now. He said that's the gospel, that that heaven is here. Yet we've changed it to be that he died, but he was saying it while he was still alive, that this is the good news. It's just so twisted.
Mm. I've heard that phrase from multiple people recently that the heaven on earth phase. So I feel like there's almost this resurgence of maybe the
Mm,
collective reclaiming and I think that would serve our world and planet and humanity beautifully right now.
yeah. Yeah, if we just got to bask in the fact that like we can experience nirvana when we are so connected and so plugged into who we are, our purpose, our divinity, when we like are accessing the spirit realm and accessing our power, like that's heaven. Like when you're so on purpose, like we all have access to that. I don't necessarily believe in the concept of heaven and hell anymore as residuals of the afterlife. Like I just I think like you just continue to live in different form, like I can call on Jesus at any time. I could also call on anyone in spirit at any time. Um, so that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
The undoing of it all has been a journey, but so, so good.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. I feel like that would be very potent for people to hear.
Mm.
And I'm sure it's relatable for a good amount of people. And even if it's not relatable, I just think that yeah, the way you explained things and also weaving in your story feels like it would be medicine for people to hear. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Story medicine, that's like something I've been thinking about a whole lot.
Yeah, that job of that you had at the church where you were interviewing people and like their stories of connecting with God, that sounds like a beautiful, beautiful job. It would lead to a lot of beautiful conversations, I'm sure.
Oh, for sure, for sure. But I think back then, like there was the agenda, right? Like we were telling these stories so that we could make videos, so that it's this big church, like a big, huge church here in Cincinnati, mega church. And we're telling these stories so that people would hear them and maybe it would change their minds and they would, like that agenda. But to simply sit in the medicine of the story just because it is, like everyone's story truly is medicine, and to like meet them there without an agenda and simply with love, like that is like really potent medicine. Like that is really potent medicine. And so like I think that and it was super serendipitous and very divine how I even ended up working that job because it didn't exist. Like they literally created it for me, like the story producer. There was video producers, but they specifically wanted someone to look for stories. So I've really tried to continue tapping into that energy of like telling stories. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great job title.
Yeah, story producer.
So,
That's
what
it.
else do we need to know about you? Is there any other things that jump out, or do you feel like this sets enough of a foundation to go more into, as you said earlier, your current truth?
Yeah, sure. Let's go deeper.
So, I'll ask you the big question, what are you reclaiming in this lifetime? What song are you singing right now? What dance are you dancing?
Oh my gosh. Ah. This question, since you like originally asked me to do this and like this question, I've been like, I'm just not gonna even think about it and just see what comes out. Like because there's
Mm.
so much. Well, like I said, like my business that I started through the school is called Freedom Birth Story. And I thought, like, when I was doing all of that, I was like, okay, like, because I've always been interested in the birth world, like, this is it, birth. Finally, I figured it out. Because I've just been like the kind of person, like, I've always been seeking what it is that I'm meant to do in this world, like what it is I'm meant to put into this world, like starting projects all the time and them falling off because they didn't have real like sustenance. And I I would say like 3 years ago, I tried to like go full throttle and like run my own business, and I was doing freelance work. And that also didn't stick. And I'm just like, I don't know what it is. Like, let me just get a job. Let me just be a normal person, get a job and see what happens. Like get a normal person job. And I ended up at the current place that I'm working at now, social media marketing studio. And it's been super beautiful because I've learned so much. But the last year for me has been deep shadow work. Like I didn't even realize that's what I was doing, but like deep shadow work. Like I said, I have a toddler. My teenage daughter is my husband's daughter. Um, so she's my stepdaughter, and so I did my own free birth after taking that that class, and um, I just kind of like although I was experiencing like the unleashing of who I am through free birthing Haven and like for like standing in my power in that way, I just hadn't been ready yet to like fully claim my power. Like all of that has been developing and digesting in the last 3 years. And so you caught me at a really, really like special time where I'm like in the process of fully developing and launching Freedom Birth Story and like that being my main thing. Um, so I'm realizing that like the freedom aspected is really what resonates with me. And birth is one of the portals of freedom. And it's like such an important and special and magical portal because at birth is where one, the mother is reborn into someone completely new and reinitiated. And then two, you have like a spirit being who decided to reincarnate onto this world. So it's this like super magical energy in that portal. But then there's also the portal of death, and there's also the portal of finances, and there's also like all of these different portals that we are just experiencing that are happening to us in life, initiation after initiation, especially as women, right? Like we have a lot of like particular things like getting our first menstrual cycle, like maiden, being a maiden, then being a mother, then being a crone. Like we have these very deep initiations. And so I feel like where I'm reclaiming my power right now is incorporating like all of that into Freedom Birth Story and like launch and just doing that, like that being where I am receiving my income, like trusting that it'll like expand and it'll continue to develop and like actually putting the energy that it deserves. And so I'm getting ready to like, shall I say it out loud? When will this air? When will this be
I
available to people?
I think either last week of March or first week of April.
Ah, that's perfect. Okay, so I'm on a timeline right now of like I am getting ready to leave my comfy job that gives me a paycheck every 2 weeks and that I can like bank on into my purpose work and really expecting full abundance to come in return. Um, I also ended up, it's just like amazing how I feel like all of this has been so spirit led because I've been like, okay, well, if I'm gonna leave my job, like I want to, and I want to be making a lot, like all this stuff, I need to understand money first. Um, and that was a whole part of my shadow work over the last year and part of like the portals that I'm moving in through myself. It's like everything that I've said, like, I want to help people. God's like, okay, how about you figure that out for yourself first? So I was confronted with, I'm like, okay, if I were to be honest, do I feel free? Do I actually feel like freedom is like I'm embodying my fullest timeline of freedom? And the answer was no. No, because I'm not making what I want to be making. I'm working for someone else. And I have a lot of healing work to do around finances. So I realized that like that's one of the portals that I want to like essentially master in order to like share that medicine with others however it comes. Like it's kind of like still developing. So that's how I joined Vortex Financial, which is like a group of women who are under a whole another hub, but it's all of these powerful women who are like reclaiming their money story. So that's been really cool. And like being able to offer other people advice about where they can position their money to build wealth. And so yeah, like I'm like as of April 1st, planning on fully being in my sovereign work, doing birth work, doing this financial work, and meeting people one on one, like private sessions with women, like having them over. Um, oh, there's a whole nother thing is like my house. I could just like so much to talk about. Like literally a year and a half ago, we moved into this insane house that's like on 5 acres of land. And I'm like, I feel like people probably are like, oh my gosh, like how did you do that? And I genuinely can say like I didn't do this. Like I did not like I was led here. Like literally magically led to this house. Like I don't even know how to begin to explain it, but like dragonflies led me to this house. That sounds crazy. Sounds insane, but I mean we can get into the dragonflies too. But just like the way spirit moves and speaks to us is just so beautiful. And so I'm gonna be using this space to like see clients one-on-one, do soul sessions, do tarot readings and oracle readings, and really dig deep and see what the spirit, what our ancestors are trying to communicate to us. Because I think when we unlock that portal of like access to our ancestors and to our guides and to all of that, like how much more freedom could you possibly need? You know what I mean? Like it's just crazy. So I am in the process of, yeah, all of that, like launching my work that I'm meant to do here. And I it's almost I don't know exactly what it all looks like, but here we are.
Beautiful. Okay, so can you give us a quick money tip? Like a simple, easy, quick money tip. What do you have for people
Okay.
who know nothing about what to do with their money?
This is something that you said you already did, and I think it's brilliant. Instead of if you have money, if you have excess money that you're trying to save, instead of saving that money in a traditional savings account, open up a high yield savings account that has at least 4 to 5% interest return. Um, it's something that's free and easy to do, like just literally opening up an account that even if you're saving a little bit of money or you have money that's sitting in a regular savings account, what happens is like you those most traditional banks are only giving you about like 0.1% return on the money that you have saved in that account. So you're not making anything. You know, when you get like little deposits of like 1 cent into your
One
account,
penny,
they're like, good
like
job.
once a year.
Yeah, it's like interest payment. Like, great, you did it. But these high yield savings accounts, so at least give you a higher percentage. And then from there, there are all sorts of accounts with much higher yield returns that you can be putting your money in that's not much different than what you're probably already doing. I'm just realizing like, okay, like I just didn't know I didn't know where to put money, like yet alone like having any kind of extra money. Like it's so crazy because I feel like I'm in the middle of healing a lot of stories in my life, yet I'm feeling called to already support other people. And it's more like walk alongside other people to do it too. Like part of me is like, oh no, well, I need all these credentials and like I need to like, have a degree for people to say, like, no, what this is like in a village, like you're just figuring out things together and you're walking alongside one another and you're sharing tips and secrets and codes that you're receiving with one another. Like you don't have to be like a financial guru all of a sudden. That's not going to happen overnight. I'm still like paying off a shit ton of debt and really trying to figure out like, okay, what do I need to do in order to attract more wealth into my life so that I can really go hard on my investments and understanding like where exactly I want to put my money. But as of now, just learning. I'm just in like the stickiness of learning about financial literacy, learning about annuities and life insurance and like all of these things that the wealthy know everything about because that's how they're growing their wealth. Like they have their money in the right places. Like there's so many people who it's just been handed to them. The script on how to build wealth has been handed to them, but you actually have to kind of seek it out if it's not something that's been like dropped in your lap. You know? So that's where I'm at. I'm just like, well, I'm gonna learn the systems because I don't want to be oppressed by them anymore. Like I don't want to be subject to the systems. Like that's what true sovereignty looks like. And I'm just like inching it out step by step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the high yield savings account is a great tip. I honestly don't think there's any reason to have a regular savings account at all.
Yeah. There isn't. It's not doing any, it's not doing anything for you.
That's literally maybe the only thing I was ever taught about money was like when I got a job when I was 15, it was like, okay, go and open a checking and savings account. And
Yeah.
then I think my mom was like, every paycheck, put some of your money in your savings account. And that was my whole financial education.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty much same. And then I got introduced to credit cards and dun
Yep.
dun dun. Oh
Yep.
my gosh. I still like I have you know, it's so interesting because credit cards are beautiful when you use them right. Like there's so many rewards and things that you can get, but they don't want you to know how to actually use them. Because then they don't make any money. But like, you know, it's just like there are so many traps just set up, just like waiting, like almost like predators that are just like waiting to pounce on you because they know like how vulnerable we are. And then there's not proper financial literacy taught in schools, you know, like it's just not a thing. Hopefully that's changing. But like, yeah, it's a very intentional system. And there are little things and then there are big things that you can like really learn to understand how to position your money, you know, um, and how to call in more, you know. I've never been a big money person. Like obviously, like I worked at a church, I was doing ministry, I wasn't making anything. Like right now I'm in the highest paying job I've ever had. Um, but I just realized like what's more valuable to me than like a paycheck is my time. Like that's my most valuable resource is my time. And I know I want to be spending every waking moment that I have doing what I'm meant to be doing in this life. Like I'm very much doing the work of not playing small anymore. You know, like that really deep solar plexus work. Like, whew, it's been it's been it's been like, girl,
Yeah.
oh my God. That bowl I was showing you, this solar plexus, it's like a D note high like frequency. So it's like I guess that note kind of heals the sacral and the solar plexus. And when you're playing the solar plexus, like that's connected to like your gut and your digestion and like how you are
Mm.
processing the things that you're putting into your body, both energetically and physically. So that's like where your confidence is stored, where fear is stored, where pride is stored, like your expression is stored. And when there's blockages in the solar plexus, like that's why it might feel like you're you're not free, you're trapped. You don't have you don't have a voice, right? Like it's not quite your throat chakra type of voice. It's more of like the way you identify yourself and express yourself is like coming like what you create. And so doing a lot of that solar plexus work, like I literally will play that thing and like it's changed since I started using it. Where at first it was like I would get like nauseous, almost sick from playing because it was doing the work. It was doing the work of like stirring up. My friend described it to me as like your chakras are spinning in one direction, and if your chakra is like blocked or closed, it's spinning in the opposite direction of like the frequency. So that's when they like collide, I guess. And so the goal is to get in sync with the frequency of the chakra. And so that's why sometimes it's like you're digging up stuff and like it feels like you can actually feel nauseous. And so I've just been doing a lot of that work, a lot of it. It's been really beautiful.
Yeah, when you just said that's like gut and stomach. That I had two thoughts there, and one thought was just on my dad's side of the family, there's a lot of that's where disease lives in our family's body, is in our GI tract and our gut and stomach. And I've been thinking about that a lot as someone who's really into holistic health. And, when you see these like obvious patterns in your family, I've really been like sitting with the question. I've been sitting with the question why in so many ways lately. Why is this how this presents? And I mean, there could be so many reasons, but it's like for myself, what can I do now as a young woman to work on healing that and preventing that being my story too. And the other thing that I thought of when you said the word nauseous is like I have this cycle going on right now. On the first day of my bleed, sometimes I have this really intense pain, and it ends up in me like vomiting and just like
Mm.
diarrhea and like painful lying on the floor, just like puking my guts out. And when it first started happening, I didn't understand it. I mean, this also comes from it started after getting off of birth control for 10 years. So that is
Mm.
definitely plays a role in it. But when it first started, it was just like I didn't understand it at all. And now that I have like continued along this journey of healing and getting to know my body and getting back into right relationship with my body, like, and not to glorify this in any way, but it really has become a very like psychedelic spiritual experience for me. And it is
Mm. Oh my
like
God.
I feel like I'm in conversation with God when I'm in that. I'm in a different state of consciousness. It is kind of triggered by pain, but it's always like if I choose to go there instead of, sometimes I don't choose to go there. Sometimes the second I feel a cramp, I'm like, oh, let me pop 4 ibuprofen because I just like I'm not up for that today.
Hmm.
But my last cycle, I had a dream a few days before my bleed, and literally just it was my womb talking to me and just said, I have something to tell you. So show
Oh
up.
God.
And I was like, I remember telling Shane, I was like, ugh. And Shane was literally like, good luck. And then, the day came and like, yeah, I was just like, okay, I'm here, I'm listening. This is like the commitment I've made to myself in my womb of like, we were out of communication for so many years. Like I'm devoted to listening.
Mm.
And so it's just been a really profound experience for me. Um, it's been difficult because it's painful and like of course I've sometimes I create the story of like what's wrong with me, but to alchemize it or let it work through me in a way to where now it is this like deep spiritual experience. And it reminds me of what you said earlier too about the guy who said like I kept ignoring the calls from my ancestors and it was making me sick. And it's like it's I find it so fascinating that people around the world are having this experience of, whether it's showing up and you getting sick physically or your life is just like a complete shit show. Like it shows up in many ways of our ancestors calling or some of us just can't ignore it. You don't have the
Yeah.
choice to ignore it.
Hmm. Hmm.
And
Hmm. Wow, I was getting like full body chills when you were saying some of that. Yeah, it's amazing how wise and intelligent and intentional the body is. Like the whole, not just the body, like the mind, body, spirit, soul, like the whole network is just all of it is working together. Nothing in our bodies are is coming up simply because of the physical.
yeah.
Like I've been kind of not like I just like kind of dabbled this. I'm sure you've heard of German New Medicine through Free Birth Society and all of that. Yeah, like German New Medicine is like this um field of medicine that's kind of rising up of like this and I'm gonna butcher exactly like how to explain it so work with me, but essentially like the founder was able to he had his son, I believe, died of a cancer. And it sent him down this journey of studying dis-ease and how different types of dis-ease is the root cause comes from a biological conflict that's going on or some kind of trauma, like some kind of emotional trauma that happened. And that trauma then manifests in the body in different areas. And so, like, he studied the brain and was able to find the associations across all of like multiple people who were had the same disease, right? So, for example, someone with a kidney like cancer or tumors that form in the kidney, like the body will compensate for trauma by either producing a mass or there's either a gain or a loss. So maybe a gain being like a tumor or a loss being something like an ulcer. And so the body's trying to heal this trauma that happened and it overcompensates and creates a mass, aka a tumor. And unfortunately with Western medication, they just see the tumor and they're like, oh, we gotta pull it out, we gotta put you on chemo, we gotta kill it, we gotta kill it. But they're not actually addressing like the what caused it in the first place, what happened, like the deeply rooted thing that happened to the person that made their body attack itself. Like so something like kidney cancer could be linked to a refugee conflict or an abandonment conflict. And so it's like that with all of the different places in the body and how disease is showing up and all sorts of things like that. Um, and that one resonated especially with me because my mom, like I said, she had gotten deported, but that was because she went through a whole long legal battle, because she was accused of bringing a girl here illegally from Nigeria who lived with us. And she was ended up being taken from us, like her six kids. And like shortly after she was taken from us, it was found that she had kidney cancer. And it was um kind of miraculously found. She ended up getting the kidney out, but it had metastasized. So because she was in prison, she was found guilty of the charge, right? And so she was sentenced to 7 years incarceration. And
Wow.
she she developed this tumor, and like years later I'm finding out that tumors in the kidneys are associated with refugee or abandonment complex. And it's like, well, yeah, she was going through like that extreme trauma of being taken from her kids. And so like I think I'm very interested in I think I'm just doing a lot right now, so I don't have the like space for it right now, but I'm very interested in studying more about this German new medicine and understanding more about like what different emotional pains and traumas are associated with different ailments in the body. Um, because that can like, man, access to that information will really unlock like healing, like true cellular healing, not just masking things by taking like cutting it out. Because that's like it's not actually f healing us. Like we don't know how to heal anymore.
Yeah.
And so many of us are disconnected from our traditional ways of accessing truths, accessing our, like God's wisdom. Like we're just like that's been like literally our pineal glands are like shrinking. We're just like so disconnected. And so I'm really on a journey of reconnecting, remembering. It's like this really deep remembering happening, and your body is remembering something, right? When you're having these really intense menstrual cycles, and it's healing itself, you know? That's so interesting that you said, yeah, that's where I got chills when you said it's like a psychedelic experience of like expelling whatever's coming out of you. Like it's like, thank God, good, like the female body is so beautiful because it's like good for you that we get to cleanse each and every month. That's not supposed to be
Right?
oppressed. That's not to be suppressed with pills that are blocking our hormones and jacking up our bodies. Like literally our bodies are like I went to I feel really connected with like indigenous peoples. When I was in college, I went and did some service work with the Lakota tribe, like in South Dakota or North Dakota. And they were telling us about like traditional Lakota indigenous beliefs in medicine. Um the original Temecula or like the sweat lodge was really formed because the men were like revered and honored the women who each and every month shed blood and like got that spiritual release and have like this natural system of cleansing our bodies. And so because men don't have that, they build these sweat lodges so that they could try to sweat out their toxins too. But like how beautiful that they were revering what's been called dirty, what's been called like whatever they say about our bleed, like we've been told, like go into exile when you're on your period. Like, no, like what are you talking about? This is our power. Like, it's just all of these things. It's such an intentional system made to make us small, you know?
Yeah. A freaking I did one sweat lodge at Temazcal in Peru and that shit was intense. Like when you
Yeah.
said sweat lodge and like men doing that instead of getting their bleed, I'm like, the one I went in was hot as fuck. I was literally
Yeah.
sticking my fingertips out underneath just to get a little like let me get a little sensation of cool air. But I'm like, that's actually a great comparison for I mean, not that every woman has painful periods and it's not even about the pain, you know. I think
Yeah.
we could access that without it because when you're talking about portals, you know, that is a time when our portal opens. We open at ovulation and then we open again for menstruation and
Hmm.
yeah, it's so cool to I love being a woman. Like I love just having access to all this magic and it's just like already inherently built into our lives to be these like
Already
you said,
there.
portal keeper, spiritual, like holding the energetics and the connection to earth and spirit. Yeah. Being a
Hmm.
woman is heaven on earth.
Oh my gosh, literally, literally. And I can guarantee Jesus would agree. I can
Yes.
guarantee. Yes, it's so fucking powerful to like have that like creatrix within us. Like what? Like that's already there. And so with that is like all the wisdom is already there too. Like, and so I really think that's the remembering of like tapping into that bodily somatic wisdom that's just like it's ingrained in us and like it's a part of like who creator is. Like it's just man, it's so powerful. Um yeah, there was something else that came to mind, but I just lost it. I was getting really excited about these conversations because it's so important to be had, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm curious if you're open to talking about it. You know, you mentioned a couple times about your mom passing and also her being taken away before that happened. I mean, I guess my question is just in what way did your losing your mom pass, having your mom die, how did that impact you? And do you think that that impacted you and your trajectory and what you're reclaiming now? Because I noticed that you mentioned that your mom passed away about 3 years ago, and then you also
Mhm.
mentioned that you've really been on this whole reclamation of your power for about 3 years. So I just had this
Yeah.
like image that popped in my mind of your mom's passing, this like transference of power into you.
Yes. Yes. Oh, that is so the energy. I'm so glad that you like, wow, you're a great listener. Um, yeah, dude, like, okay, so my mom was such a magical human being. She was completely ridiculous sometimes, but like very deeply loved by so many just because of like how jovial and innocent she was. And so yeah, obviously, I mean, I guess it's inevitable. Like I was very, very close with her. We were all very close with her, even though she was a doctor and she was very busy, but like she just loved us so ferociously. And so for her to be taken away from us, like I was 11 when all of this started happening. So it was intense. And like me and my siblings ended up like kind of getting moved around. Like, um, we had our we, she had a we had a big house in Maryland, like in the burbs, and that got taken away. And my uncle kind of tried to he like stepped in like financially to kind of support us. But we ended up moving houses and it was just like a lot of instability for some years. She didn't want us to separate. That was like her one thing. She's like, just keep my kids together, but it just didn't work out for a bunch of kids to be living alone. And so I ended up moving to Ohio. And so I really didn't live with my mom from 11 onward. And
Mm.
there's something super sweet though in that like I spent all this time without her, and that just obviously was shaping me in many different ways. I moved in with my aunt, and she was like, she's a pastor, and so she's very involved with her church, and that's when that started to get introduced to me to be like radical for Jesus, and like all of this stuff. And but my mom was always very close to us, like in terms of emailing, and we were just like kept our relationship, right? And when she ended up being deported, I was on my trip. Um, and when I ended up having that whole initiation, she's in Nigeria, like, bring my daughter to me. Like, what are you talking about? That all this stuff is happening. Like, she needs to come home. So I get back from 11 months abroad, and then she's like, come to Nigeria. And I like have no money at this point. I'm just like completely like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I was so lost. And I go to Nigeria and I got these 6 super precious months with her. And I didn't even realize, obviously I didn't know these were the last and that I would really get to spend with her. But it was like the little girl in me who just needed her mom and like just needed to like just oh, he's so sweet. Chocolate. Okay, so my hubby just came in with some chocolate and
That's
flowers.
so
And they're
cute. That's
sunflowers.
so
Oh,
sweet.
look, yellow sunflowers. Are you kidding? You can't make
Or
this up.
yellow.
He comes as sunflower. So how special. She's like, yes, you're talking about me. Mm-mm-mm.
That's so cute. I love
That
that
is
that just
so
happened.
precious. I was gonna be like, what are you doing? Do you not see me talking? Aw, that's so yeah, yeah. My mom in spirit is amazing. She's so awesome. Like I'm talking about her here, she was great, but like in spirit, she's been so beautiful. So anyway, I got 6 months with her. I got to like cry and be a baby and just be like a brat and like mean to her and just like she's just like I needed that. Like I need the little girl in me really needed that time. Um and then about a year later, when all the COVID craziness was happening, she was like really, okay, I will say this. My mom was a warrior. Like she was a fighter, right? And like she had gone through a lot in her life and still managed to trust God, put a smile on her face and keep going. She was like trying to rebuild her medical practice in Nigeria. It was a lot. She's like been like money was a whole nother thing too, like which is a big part of my money story. And she was tired. Like I remember one of the last conversations I had with her, she was like, Stella, I don't want to do this anymore. And I was, I'm like, Mom, you can't say that. Don't say that, blah, 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 blah. But she's like in Nigeria, away from her kids. I thank God my oldest sister was there with her when she did end up passing, but she contracted COVID. And I truly believe that she had a lot of different, dis-ease, right? Like she had hypertension, diabetes, all these things. But I think like she saw that as her ticket out. Even if it was subconsciously, she knew that she didn't want to be separated from her kids anymore. And that was like her biggest pain in this earth. And she ended up getting pneumonia and like, she transitioned. And obviously, like the saddest thing in the world, I happened to be in Jamaica with that man, that amazing man. That like at the time when she passed, we were like on our first vacation together in Jamaica, and like, whoa, like my whole world just started just like imploded. But she instantly, like my siblings and I in different places around the world started seeing butterflies. Like my brother is like, oh my gosh, I saw a butterfly today. And my sister too. And then I'm in Jamaica and there's literally yellow butterflies everywhere I go. Because she was in Nigeria and we're all separated, it was like you might as well stay in Jamaica for a few more days and like for the rest of your vacation because we're not going to be together for days anyway. So I stayed there and um she just showed up in all of our, like I started getting poetry from her like instantly about like how to find her. Like it was just crazy. And this is before I was truly like honoring what it means to connect with your ancestors. Like before I really got it. Um she just came on strong and we knew she was around. Like me and my siblings were all experiencing different things in different places and we're like that must have been mom, and as hard as it is to lose like someone, your mother, like that is so, it was so painful. But like you said, like pain, like is pain actually a bad thing? Like we're taught to like steer away from pain, but like what if pain is like so purposeful? Like what if pain can be is like the is an energy that's just meant to unlock within us our capacity to heal. Because like, whoa, or like, think about birth, like the most pain in the world and then instantly euphoria. Like you have to move through that as your initiation, as the portal. And yeah, like she's just so fun in the spirit realm. Like I feel her all the time. She's hilarious. She's super grounded. Like she's not afraid anymore. Like my mom used to like if me having a free birth she would have been off her fucking rocker. She would have been so mad at me. Like one of her siblings, she would call me. She's like, like your mom, what would your mom say? Like, you need to go get an ultrasound. You need to do this. You need to do this. And I'm like, Auntie, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not doing any of it, and I don't have to anymore because mommy's not here. And but my mom would have been flipping out if I tried to just give birth and freedom. But because she was on the other side, like she was there and she was so proud, like she has no fear anymore. Like I don't know. Oh, that's so cool. Like thinking about the that yellow solar plexus energy, like and well really all of your chakras opening up when you finally meet your maker, like and when we transition, it's like the burst of like that release, like you don't have fear. Like there's no fear in love. There like it just doesn't exist. So like her in spirit is just so loving and strong and just I still grieve, of course. Like, every once in a while I'm just like, man, I just want to hear her voice. Like I just want her to like tell me it's gonna be okay. Um, but yeah, she's awesome. She's awesome. I really love her. So,
Yeah, I
and
love the
she's
joy that
been, yeah, I would say like I've connected with a medium here and there, and obviously she comes through every time. And that's been a really beautiful world that's opened up too, is like mediumship. I don't necessarily feel like I have mediumship myself, but like we're all channels and we can all hear from the spirit realm. We all kind of are mediums in our own route. And but I've had some readings where she comes through and one of them I was like, this is like why all of this stuff is like, okay, I really gotta like figure out my life. I was with my sister, it was me and my sister seeing this medium for like 30 seconds at this convention. We're like sitting down with her and she looked at both of us and she was like, which one of you is doing something you're not supposed to be doing? Like you don't want to do anymore. She's like, which one of you is doing something you don't want to do? And I was like, oh, me. That's me. I already know. And she was like, she said life is too short to be doing what you don't want to do. Like if you have magic to put in this world, you need to do it. Like you are protected. You are like so like she's saying like she's got you. She's got you. Like dare do the things that are scary. Like just go out there, like figure it out and like they're backing us up. Like our ancestors are freaking backing us up. I like see them like rows of ancestors just there. Just like, okay, what are we getting into now? Like especially when you say yes to like listening. It's really cool. So that's my mama,
Yeah, it's beautiful. What was her name?
Stella.
Oh yeah, you said that. I
Yeah,
love that.
it's named after her, Adobe Stella. Yeah, she is definitely a star. Stella means star. She's a fun person. She's
Mm.
all around. I have her picture all around. She's over here. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the message that has really come through for me too. And that is really, why my business and my bigger mission in life is called Sacred Reclamation because and what you said about pain and I believe that about grief as well, that these are
Hmm.
things that like remind us that we're alive. And it's like that's why I'm such a big like advocate for feeling all of your emotions. And it's not that feeling happy is better than feeling sad or feeling grief or feeling angry. It's like these are all proof that we're alive. Like this is what being alive is. And that is like we have to reclaim the fact that life is sacred and that we're alive and
Hmm.
we can be these conscious creators and we have all our ancestors back here like screaming behind us like what are you gonna do? What are we gonna do? Like let's do it. We
Yeah.
didn't do it. Like it's
Yeah.
your turn.
Literally, like we didn't do it, but now we know. Now we see it all.
They're
Like
like pushing
now
you
we see it
closer to
all.
the edge like
Uh-huh.
come on. Come on.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, it's very, very playful. It is very playful a lot of the times. And I've been opening up to and experimenting with a lot of like different oracle decks and just like the way the spirit wants to come through the words of others, just for more like edification, more strength, and to see how yeah, they would come through. And so this morning I got a new deck called Angels and Ancestors and he has a spread there that's like your past life, like a past life spread. And that's how I started my morning doing like that whole spread. And what came through was like in past lives, like the first card I got was like what energy's coming through from the past life. It was great teacher. And then like the picture on it is it feels like Jesus, like it looks like Jesus, like and the card is all about like yeah, like the great teacher who like has all of this spiritual wisdom imparted on them and who's here now on earth like to teach that and to help bring other people into it. And then the next card that came was the Elder. So it's like the Great Teacher and the Elder cards came through for me. And I think like that was super, super significant because I do feel like this ancient wisdom that's coming through. Like I've done this many, many times. Like I'm just back again. And it's like this life, I'm like, okay, like I want to do this right. Like when you can tap into like, oh no, 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 like you've been here again in Nigerian spirituality, they call it like your agwu. And your agwu is like basically your dharma. And there's like the saying that when you pass on, you negotiate with the creator to come back to do something, to make it, to have an accomplishment in this life. So your soul chooses to come back in order to fulfill this agu, to fulfill this dharma. And I think a lot of people who don't know that and who aren't like tapped into that, like those are the people who actually deal with a lot of really heavy psychosis issues because we're so out of alignment with what we're here to do. And we're so blocked from those answers. But like when you can like actually tap into that energy, like that's when we heal and that's when we bring medicine into the world. And yeah, like you said, like your emotional capacity like is meant to cycle us through that. Big emotions are great. Like
Yeah.
we have to feel them.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I'm really trying to get away from just that story that we're wrong or something's a problem, whether it's a health issue that comes up or whether it's an emotion or it's the way that we're expressing ourselves. Like I just had a we my brother just came up to visit and so it was me, Shane, and my brother and we were just having a conversation about something and it was two men and one woman having a conversation and we were all kind of joking around and being playful, but they were like, why are you getting so upset? Why are you getting like you're getting all riled up? I'm like, I'm not riled up.
emotional.
I'm expressing. I've been saying I feel like I've been saying so much lately, like I'm allowed to express, like I am expressing. And that there's these stories that we're told that, especially as women of color, that we're too loud, we're too emotional, we're too big, like we need to just sit down and be quiet. And I
Mhm.
would say maybe that's a story that's told in religion too. Just sit down, be quiet, don't ask questions, do what you're
Yeah.
told. And it's like,
Hmm.
fuck no. Like,
Yeah.
why? Why? Like,
Not doing that anymore.
no. And if you can't answer when I ask you, why are we doing this or why are you telling me to do this and you don't have an answer for me, like, then get out of the way,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
And it's because
Literally.
yeah, I've spent a lot of my life people pleasing. And so it kind of is my reflex is to like, you know, get bold and then be like, oh no, was that too much? Like,
Hmm.
let me balance that out with like something quieter, softer. And it kind of reminds me of what, at least in my cohort, we learned in RBK was like the whole raising your thermometer and like, when and in a positive situation, when you experience something and you reach a new level of like joy, abundance, gratitude, whatever, and you're feeling this big feeling, like our reflex is to just like go back down to that thermometer level we're used to being at, like
Mm.
almost the idea of when's the other shoe gonna drop? Or people say like people get caught up and they don't want to feel too happy because then they're worried that something bad's gonna happen if something good happens. And
Yep. Yep.
this practice of like trying to stay there and just being like, this is my new normal. Like I'm allowed to be here. I deserve to be here. I'm worthy of being here. And oh, it's big work, but when it
Hmm.
is, and I don't want to pretend like I always feel this way and I always feel so aligned and in flow and like lit up by this. I definitely think being in conversation with people like you, that's so like gives me so much vitality and keeps this alive in me and helps me. That is a practice that I can use to remember that life is sacred, and especially being in conversation with conscious creators and women like you who are living like this and you can just be like, this is real, this is true. Like we can
Hmm.
stay in this energy um and it's not about being perfect or always being that way, but it's just about I think it's about just coming back to that and remembering, like you said earlier.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah. I almost want to take a few deep breaths to that.
Yeah.
I feel like. Mm. You you can't really remember without first sitting in the shadow. Like again, like that whole idea of like pain bringing forth like new life is like I like literally a year last year at this time, maybe to this date, I literally was shaving my head off, my hair off, my head off, shaving my head off. I was shaving my hair off because I was like a year and a half postpartum and just stressed the fuck out, not connecting with myself, not eating well, like not doing the work. I was not doing the work. And my hair was literally suffering from like postpartum stress and like just not showing up for myself in my fullest capacity. And even like now, like there's ways in which I'm like, man, I know if I do this thing, I will feel so much better. I know if I like devote, if I live in devotion and I have control and over the way I'm spending my time and my days, like it's only deeper levels of elevation that's gonna happen. Like we kind of know what to do. We just like developing the practices and developing like the mindset to stay on it is really the work because like even to like hear these words coming out of my mouth is like I haven't been here like in a really long time, if ever. And it feels really good to start to understand both what other people see in me because I have been like people compliment me or say like even when you said like oh like I feel like this is gonna be really powerful like speaking with you like I have to tell myself like that is your medicine. Like you have to open your voice, like you have to say what needs to be said and live in your truth. Because if not, you are robbing other people from the medicine that you have. And so like that has been such a big part of the shadow work and of like the waking up. Like I've started to wake up every day at like I have a 5:55 alarm and like I'm not allowed to not do it, even if I decided to stay up till 1 or 2, like the night before. It's like, nope. Well, you know you need to get alone because your baby's gonna wake up around 7:38 and then you're like done and you're not gonna do any of this stuff. So like I've been getting up early, like trying to move my body or do my connection, like read my cards, like really, really devoting myself to myself. Like, I have to do that. Like, that work has to come through, or else I notice the difference like that between when I fall off of some type of ritual or routine, I start to, yeah, the lies start to come back up, or like, you start to tell yourself stuff that's just simply not true.
Yeah.
So it feels
Yeah.
really good to have been yeah, doing that work and like feeling like it's finally making sense. Mm.
Yeah. I also want to say that I also practice trusting when I do fall off and I'm not doing the
Mm.
things that I know that keep me well and keep me in the truth instead of, in that slippery slope of whether it's like hitting snooze or just like, turning on Netflix or eating ice cream. Like for me, it can be really small choices that compound over time. And then all of a sudden I'm
Yeah,
freaking in like
spiraling.
a deep dark hole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep, yep. Story of my life.
But, but I also really believe that like I'm not afraid of the darkness and I don't think that
Mm,
light is any better than dark. Like I get so much medicine from the darkness and I'm really starting to come around to the potential fact that maybe I am someone who's meant to, you know, go down into the darkness and come back up every
mm,
now and then. And that there
mm,
is things to reap down there there is goodness down there. I'm really exploring, what we've been taught about darkness or what we see as evil, and
Hmm.
is that really true?
Yeah, so I love that you just said that because I just started a book. What's it actually called? It's by a woman named Abiola. Let me figure out the name because she has like a deck all about like the African goddesses. It's called African Goddess Initiation. Abiola Abrams. She starts off talking about like how we have been the African goddesses have been so demonized because of our darkness, because the African goddesses are one, our skin is dark, but also like the goddesses take us into the darkness and they do the hard work with us. Like um black magic, witchcraft has been given all of this like negative energy, dark energy. Black magic has been said like as though that's a bad thing. Um and yet there's so much medicine in the darkness because like as women of color, it's just like innately in us to have our, like we're warriors. Like we're really much like um it's been chastised that black is bad or darkness is bad. But truly it's just it's equal parts of us. We're equally light and dark. Like we are just that's just who we are, right? And we can choose, like that's where our free will comes in on like what side of the spectrum that we want to sit in when. But I actually had to like encourage a girl at this camp that I was at. Like she was like, I just feel like everyone thinks I'm dark because I like she's like more drawn towards like I don't know, like darker occult type of I don't know, practices. And I'm like, no, like I really think that there's so much value to embracing the shadow and to working with the shadow. Um, I did like ayahuasca. I've only done like one ayahuasca journey when I was in Costa Rica. And I remember I had a vision of grandmothers. It felt like grandmother energy, and they were of all different ethnicities. Like I just remember feeling like perceiving multiple ethnicities, and it felt like they were like my counsel in a way, or like women that are like assigned to me or that guide me. And I remember very vividly them like going back and forth, like, and like the black grandmother saying, she can handle it. She can handle it. Like, take her, like, like, let's go deeper. And then the other ones being like, no, 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 like let's, like they were literally like um quarreling. Like, and it was the dark grandmothers who were like, she can handle it. And she can handle the truth. And it very much sassy. And I just always remember that, like, man, I had a whole multicultural council arguing about how deeply to go with this medicine. And thankfully they didn't go that deep. Like they got to kind of like, 'cause I don't know that I was ready. But yeah, like that deep shadow work is so good. So good. It's not bad. There really is no bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's such like a made up concept.
And it feels so cliche, to say, it's only your love, but it's kind of true. Like what we see as bad is really the things that we're afraid of and things that we don't understand. I think that when we sit down and we listen to the stories of everyone, like I kind of think that you could fall in love with anyone if you really got to know them.
Hmm.
And I just think that when we misunderstand people or even the way certain things are in the world, and this could just be naivety, honestly, on a certain level. or just like, wanting the world to be a beautiful place. But I just think that a lot of people, and I think it's a lot of people are misunderstood. And there's been a lot of fear and I mean there is violence and things like that in the world, that is true. But it's just the other cliche of, hurt people. And I really think that love and compassion can be so, so, so healing. And I
Yeah,
think it starts with ourselves.
I think there definitely needs to be a distinction between darkness and evil. Like the shadow and darkness is not necessarily evil. And there are
Yeah.
many evils in this world. And I think that like evil might come when someone partners with the I don't know, with darkness in a certain way, but not I don't know how to say it in words, but I definitely think that there's a difference between our shadow and our darkness versus evil, malice, hatred. You know, those are energies
Yeah.
that I don't embrace. I will never embrace, and I don't want to partner with those energies in me, even when they come up. But I think that there's a distinction between those energies and dark energy.
Yeah, I
Um,
think we really lack the language to be able, and I wonder if there are other cultures or other languages that have the words for it because,
I can
English
guarantee
can
you there
be,
is. I
yeah.
can guarantee you there is. Like even like because like as I've been trying to understand Igbo, like my native tribe is the Igbo people in Nigeria, and man, like the language is so spiritual. I never learned it. Some of my siblings, like my older siblings, can like understand Igbo way more than I can. Like, but as I've like tried to connect more with like Igbo spirituality, which isn't easy because my family's all Catholic. Um, oh my gosh, the concepts and the language and the words to describe things are so deep and beautiful. Actually, what I was talking about before, the agwu, like your dharma, that word agua is actually considered like dark. It's like your how I just watched a video on it. I have to send it to you because the way he was describing it is that agua is like something that people are scared of uncovering because it makes you have to live your truth. Like it's not all lovey-dovey and light. It's like, no,
Yeah.
like this is the shit you have to do. Like you came back here to do this work. And it's not it's heavy. It's a heavy concept. So it's actually funny that you even said that because I just watched a video on that. And I was like, oh, like that feels so much more in alignment with why it's like even okay, I'm gonna use Jesus again because I'm so familiar with his story. He like when he's like being told by God that he's gonna have to die and they're gonna murder him for his witchcraft, he literally goes into a garden and like cries and like had like grieves and is just like, can you take like if you would take this cup from me, like I don't know that I can do this, like I don't know that I want to be this person, like I like take it from me if you can. Like even he was like, ah, this is big, this is too much. Like yeah, I do think that there is something really beautiful to being like yeah to being in the portal with people and like going into the underworld with people.
Yeah.
Like it's beautiful to feel called to that.
Yeah. And I know that part of your work is building a village around that, and that is part of my work is reclaiming that village like community. And I think that that is often the missing key is when we have these big dreams or purposes, or like I just imagine, when it feels too heavy to hold on your own, it's like that's because it is.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to hold it by yourself.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Ugh, I feel that.
Like I just, yeah, I don't know. I imagine Jesus, and I love that you tell that story. And the question I immediately thought of is like, is that a traditional story that's told? Because sometimes I feel like we're not supposed to believe that Jesus or God is has gone through any of our like human struggles, that we're just
Yeah.
these low level humans. And but I
I don't know
really,
if you've ever seen like a saying that says like Jesus wept, or like that being said as like a phrase. It comes from that story of him in the Garden of Gethsemane, of him like I'm trying to think of the word of like his sorrow and his grieving before it. So it's told. It's definitely told, but I don't think it's told in a matter of it being like a good thing. You
okay.
know what I mean? Like I don't know that it's told of like it's used like I've felt it used in a way of like you're not always gonna like what God calls you to, but you have to do it anyway. Which is kind of what I'm saying, but it's a different energy, right? Like because it's like God is telling you to do this thing, so you better do it. Like it's like still this very masculine, like domineering thing. But I think the divine feminine, the way she brings in the shadow and the darkness, is integration. Like it's you, like it's a part of you. It's not like something that some other higher power is telling you you have to do. No, it's something that you need to express because it's just a
Mm.
part of you. It's who you are. It's your power. It's your darkness. Like it's you get to own it, you know? Like I think
Yeah.
that's the difference in how his story is told versus like, yeah, a feminine perspective.
Yeah, I feel like the way forward really is this more integration because we've done the patriarchy masculine thing,
Hmm.
and we kind of have this swing push towards the opposite, towards you know matriarchy, and the future is female, and I was definitely on that bandwagon for a while. And my work after doing RBK and stuff was just like heavily centered on women and mothers. But then once you even just dipping my toe into that work, it's not just women and mothers. Like there's
Hmm.
men and there are boys and there are whole family systems and whole communities. And I don't really think the way forward would just to be to swing over to females running everything. I think
Hmm.
that it's really calling for the reintegration of the family unit and the community of the mother and father and kings and
Hmm.
queens, and
Hmm.
working really, really allowing those energies to come together and be, it's really calling for wholeness
Hmm.
and no more separation or fragmentation.
Uh, yes, 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 yes. That's the divine feminine. That's the matriarch. Like
Yeah.
matriarchal communities and societies are all about balance and seeing like revering each member of the society as equal parts. And like I get this illustration that I was taught one time of like very like masculine patriarchal energy or Western energy is like linear. And so it's like very cause and effect, A plus B equals C, and like, calculated mathematical. And it's why you get a pyramid instead of a circle because like it's all about the hierarchy. It's all about like leader, like the person on top is more important than those down here. But then a matriarchal perspective is very circular, and a
Mm.
matriarch is all about the cycles of life. It's all about like everyone playing an equal role. There's no top, there's no bottom, there's no like true direction. It's just cyclical. And like in that type of thinking, like A plus B equals Z minus B plus T and Y. And like it's like everything. Like there's no linear progression because we're so dynamic. Like we're such dynamic humans. And it's just like super beautiful to want and desire and to be a part of the reclamation of the divine feminine, especially because it's so clearly under attack. It's so clearly under attack. It's so clearly threatened. Like the masculine, not the divine masculine, but the masculine is very threatened by femininity because of that power, because of like, and I don't know why, because the whole point is that we're all equal parts. Like we're just like it's just the same playing field. Not that we do the same things or have the same purpose. Like women and men are very, very divinely different. But that's like the point. We're
I
meant to
think that
be.
when you're so used to having power and control over, like to level the playing fields to where everyone is equal, like those people feel like they're losing something or something's
Right.
being taken away, which I guess in a way, yes, but also maybe we can all just rise up.
Yeah, maybe we can all just get along. It doesn't have to be a like competition.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like what if
There's enough room for all of us, or like why else would we all be here?
Mm, yeah, it's very, very interesting to think about all this. This is like
Yeah.
what's constantly going on in my head. Like
I
I feel like sometimes I'm like, I don't think anyone understands what I'm trying to say because it's just like I'm always having these high level conversations in my head, and it'll be like the smallest thing that's happened, but I'm going to like the ethers in my head, like breaking down philosophical concepts. But I love
just
it. I love conversation like this.
yeah, literally waking up and just being like, "Oh shit." I had this, oh, I would love to share this with you because this was feels special for me and I haven't really deciphered it yet, but I had this dream the other night and I was with Shane and a couple other people. I didn't recognize them, and we were like cliff jumping. It was like we were skydiving, but we jumped off of a cliff and we had parachutes. And we just immediately jumped off, and our parachutes were already off. And so we're going down, and then we were kind of on the landscape was like a beach, or it was like land and then water, like ocean. And I'm like, in the sky going down. And then for some reason, I had this thought that I could fly. And so I was like, I had a very quick thought of like, I'm gonna fly and like put my arms out and like, drive, like glide and then dive into the water. And it reminded me of when I was a kid, when I would have these dreams that I could fly and then I would wake up and try to like jump off the couch and just fucking plop onto the ground. And I'd be like, it felt so real, like I could fly in the dream. And I was like,
That's
oh,
so
maybe,
precious.
maybe if I just try again. And it just like never was real while I was awake. And so, yeah, I just had that quick, like, whatever that was. And so then I pressed the button and my parachute collapsed. And then I just immediately started plummeting down to the ground so fucking fast. And it was like
Oh shit.
so fast. My only thought was like, oh shit, like, holy shit, I'm about to die. And then it was just like I just accepted that. I think I had a moment of like, why did I do that? Why did I press that button? And then it was like, okay, okay, I'm gonna die now. And then literally like right before I hit the ground, like this sensation just like washed over me and it was just like whoosh and like gravity stopped and something just caught me and I just like lightly floated up and then just like very gently landed
Mm.
on the ground. And it was so
Oh,
visceral, like in the dream was very visceral, the sensation. And yeah, and then like Shane eventually landed and then he was like I saw him like running around the beach like crying because he thought I was dead. And then I was like, I'm not dead, like I'm okay. And everyone was mad at
wow.
me. Everyone was like, why did you do that? Like what the fuck? And but it was just like, yeah, it was very
How have you been interpreting that?
it's still kind of marinating, but I chatted with a friend about it the other day and we were kind of talking about how that is can kind of just be that's a repeating message that I've gotten in my life from, source or God of like leap and the net will appear, or the Terrence McKenna quote that is like, you hurl yourself into the abyss only to discover it's a feather bed. Like, hurl yourself into whatever fucking scares the shit out of you
Yeah.
and surrender to it fully. And then, like, God's got you, your ancestors
Mhm.
got you. Maybe,
Mhm.
and you might fucking really think you're gonna die. And we might not swoop into the last second, but just go for it. And then it's like, not to be morbid, but the worst thing that's gonna happen is you are gonna die. And it's like, I'm gonna die anyway one day.
Yeah. Thank God. Like that's like
Yeah.
that's like the ultimate freedom is when we get to die.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
I feel like I need to read this. Hold on a second. Give me 1 second. Okay. So when you were sharing that, it reminded me of so this was the deck I was talking about where I did the whole past life spread. And I bought this deck because a shamanic healer that I've been working with. Oh, baby's here, so I guess this might be the end. Um, she pulled this card for me, and so um, I was just like, wow, that's a really cool deck. And then I just got it. And this came to the middle. This came through as like the final question of this card pull that I did. So this was like a past life thing, and so that's like where all the cards go. And the middle one was transition. So it's what energy are you stepping into as a result of all of the lessons from the full pool? And I got her, the medicine mother.
Medicine Mother. Mm.
And I think, it's interesting that she's a West African woman. And it says honor your inner knowing. And so I'm just gonna read this to you before we hop off because I think this kind of integrates everything. Okay. So the message is take action, do what you know you need to do. So it says, Mother always knows best, they say, and it's true. We all know a maternal figure who's extremely intuitive and insightful. And this medicine mother, inspired by West African tribal women, has gone through many ups and downs. She has lived and she has lost. She knows what it's like to suffer and to want to give up. So the medicine of this card is that it's okay to make mistakes and get it wrong sometimes. And it's okay for things to come to an end. It's not the end of the world. It's just the end of one chapter and the beginning of something new. The medicine mother reminds you that even though you'll have low lows, you aren't here to suffer. You're here to give, you're here to be supported and to support others. Let her give you the loving encouragement to take the next step forward. And it says, there's an old pattern rising up in you now, and it's time to deal with it and release it for good. You're being encouraged to love and respect yourself enough to take steps you know you need to take to move closer to where you'd like to be. You already know the answers. You already know what you need to do. You may have been using delaying tactics or holding back, but you are being guided to take action. Action requires courage, but your angels and guides are bringing you to the courage to move forward. Take just one step. When you do, the next will be presented to you. And I think that is like that's the integration, right? Like you don't have to have all the pieces. Like you don't have to like know what's gonna happen when you fucking jump off the cliff. But like trust and like dive down and see what happens. And you might just fall on a pillowy, you might just gracefully land. But like when you really trust that like the ancestors have got your back and that you're moving by like your inner knowing and you're moving by the trust like within you, like you can take all of the pain, you can take all of the darkness with you. Like those are all a part of the initiation. Like those are all good things. And really just trust in what the next step is. Even if you don't see the one behind that one, like it's just like one at a time. One at a time. Good
Mm.
morning, baby. There's my Haven. You say hi.
Thank you for that. Hi, Haven.
Yeah, for sure. That is, and I think that's what it's all about, like being medicine woman and yeah, just like yeah,
Yeah,
trusting in her.
that is the message. Thank you for delivering it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I know we need to wrap up so you can focus on Sweet Haven. Do you have a practice you want to share with us that supports you and reminds you that life is sacred?
Mm, wow. So my practices evolve for sure based on where I'm at, like especially as I've been like tuning into my cycle and like journal tracking my cycle, but journaling has been a huge practice. And like I've been on all my journal entries, I'll put like the time, the where exactly the moon is, what in its cycle, and where I am in my cycle. And especially as I've been like postpartum and getting my body back regulated, like sometimes my period is like shifting and moving. And I have started to understand more about the energy of like the luteal phase versus follicular and versus like when I'm bleeding and when I'm ovulating and how like I can produce versus how I retreat during these times and like really getting in tune with that has been such a beautiful practice for me for the past few months. I've been doing that and like understanding how it's in relationship with Mother Moon, you know? So that has been huge for me. And like I said, like just getting up in the morning, it was so hard when I first started doing it, but now I like almost can't sleep past my alarm. And then I'll go on cycles of that like being like dead and gone for a week or two and I'm like completely off balance and I'm like I need to do it. Like now I just like have signed myself up for this thing. But yeah, getting up every day and then letting it flow. Like sometimes it looks like yoga first. Sometimes it looks like doing a little exercise. Sometimes it looks like doing a reading and going deep and seeing what the ancestors are saying, how they're coming through. Um, but that sacred time in the morning is like prime to hear from spirit and to like just sit with spirit, especially with a toddler, because otherwise I just like get so flustered. And like I even see the way it affects the way I like just approach her. Like, like I like
Mm.
some days, like when I start my day grounded, I'm I like so much more patient and so much more like I actually just can be present rather than just like I have all this stuff to do and like I don't want to deal with you, child. It will always get to that by the end of the day though. I'm like, ah! Like it just that's that's the if I'm being honest, that's the truth. But at least the first hour, I'm cool with her. Just kidding. But yeah, yeah, just a lot of that. A lot of that has been so good. Meditation too. Trying to understand meditation as an ongoing practice too. Like it doesn't have to be, it is sometimes sitting down and like listening to a guided meditation or just going within, but also like allowing myself to tap into that energy, like whenever watering the plants, I'm meditating.
Yeah, I love that. I have such a I don't know, my relationship with meditation needs healing because
Mm,
I can get kind of perfectionist and be like, it has to look like this. And then it's like that
mm,
is so I don't that repels me. I actually don't like that. And so
hmm
opening up the conversation around what is meditation for us and even what you said is how you let it flow. You don't constrict yourself to doing getting up and doing the same thing every morning. That feels so much more
hmm
aligned, especially as women.
Yes, yes, because like sometimes I want like a hot tea and then sometimes I don't. Like and sometimes I want, whatever it is, like I really try to like I just know the point is getting up. And then
Mm,
from there, like, yeah, letting it flow. But that's like when I get myself up, um, versus when I don't. It's a big difference. It's a big
yeah.
difference.
I
But
love that.
yeah.
Simple and true.
Yeah, yeah. I've been really enjoying like experimenting with different tools of, divination tools. Like that's been taking my practice to new depths, um, for sure. So that's been really cool too.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much. This has been amazing, and I know that we could just keep going. I feel like I had a few moments where I'm like, oh yeah, we're recording a podcast.
Yeah, I know for sure.
Well, share with us where people can find you. I know people are gonna want to connect and follow you and see what you're up to.
Oh, I would love that. I am Stella's Freedom Story on Instagram. And then I also have my business page, which is Freedom Birth Story. So you can find me on the IGs here and there. I'll pop in and share a video and then pop out because social media. So, yeah, I would love to connect with anyone who feels called to it. And yeah, like I said, I'm like really in the process of starting to share what I really want to be sharing more. So hopefully that becomes even more populated and fruitful in the near future. Or maybe not.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just go inward. We'll see.
And you're in Cincinnati, Ohio, if anyone's
Yes.
around there.
Yes. I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, and I am really, really divinely trying to call in births. So if there's anyone in the area that knows anyone who is a birthing mama who needs support, that is definitely the energy I want to put out.
All right. Beautiful. It's out there.
Mhm.
It's on its way.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you, Stella.
Thank you so much, Sydney. This has been so beautiful.
Yeah, I really enjoyed our time together. Now go spend time with your beautiful family.
Thank you. Will do.